会人には当然のルールです
Lucy, Lucy. Like, I don't know how to even not sound classical on that. What is she saying?
Use.
Use. Just got vibrato in there.
Oh, yeah.
Use, use, use. It's cray.
Usewa.
正しさとは愚かさとはそれが何か見せつけてやる
Is this more like the bulk of her material?
This is her debut song. Not her bulk. No.
So what is she known for, if you could say?
She's one of those artists that does a little bit of everything. So she'll have rock songs. This is kind of like almost like a metal song at times. The poppy stuff, the ballad stuff, the super electronic EDM stuff. Like she's all over the place. She'll even do some rappy stuff. Yeah, I don't know where to place it.
But nothing within the box. Always trying to break the limitations of
But it doesn't that make it? I guess so. For her fan base, it's just people who love the sound of her. Or just I don't know. Like that's a huge ask, which based on what you described to me is working for her. But I know, if Taylor Swift, I guess, which would be the Western example, but this seems more extreme. Like what you just described seems more extreme. Taylor Swift is famous for transitioning from country music to pop, but this is so much more, I would argue, so much more broad than just that shift.
Yeah, I think it's so this happens a lot with Japanese idols, Japanese singers that they debut and they just try a lot of different things, see what sticks, and they seem to constantly try to one up their last single.
I was gonna say, because Korean entertainment industry is very, very strong. Comparing to Japan though, however, like Japan is much more experimental and much more expressive, whereas K-pop, like everything is
It seems to me like K-pop
in the box.
is really riffing on Western, which is really in the box.
Oh yeah.
And that's why it's so international.
Yes. But just to be clear, I want to say just every country or culture is going to have their cool experimental singer-songwriters and artists. But I think what we're talking about is as far as what's rising to the surface of pop culture that's like unmissable, culturally unmissable. So every culture has, like, America has singers doing experimental things and crossing genres, but as far as getting as big as Taylor Swift or Ado, that's another...
See, and this is the interesting thing about that. So a song like this is not, playing on the radio in Japan, but it is a top charting song at karaoke bars. People love singing this at karaoke.
No way!
How many can pull it off?
I don't know.
So why then? Like, explain to me in your opinion, why... If something is so popular that it's like a #1 song at karaoke bars, people love singing it, they love hearing it, they love it, why wouldn't it be on radio?
It's one of the it's like a fun song. It's like a challenge song. It's fun to sing. People like a challenge. Like
music is math. Music is science. Music is sport. Music is sport.
But then when it comes to listening, like the popular stuff is generally just clean, very clean pop. Ballads.
So when people cover this, do they try and do the wild things she does?
I'm sure some people, yes. And they often don't know what she's doing though.
Would you say that the culture in Japan around singers and artists, would you say it's more curious about vocal technique, or am I just being crazy?
Oh, that's a... I don't know if that... I think they're all curious, but I don't think they're exposed
to
as much.
Same. West, East, same.
Yeah. But I think here we're exposed to more experimental stuff in popular music. In our popular music, I think we do hear little anomalies that they don't have as much, if that makes sense. Like I'm just even thinking of like Nickelback and the singer's vocal is. You wouldn't find that in like a regular pop, a band that was that popular in Japan.
I see what you're saying. I was going to argue with you and say I see it the opposite, in that I think Japan seems more experimental, but I think I just understood what you meant. Maybe we have different sort of vocal flavors.
Yeah.
Here, maybe more. Freaking interesting. Freaking.
Yes.
But let me hear this insane thing that everybody's
Okay,
trying to do at karaoke. Yeah, tonally, I think it's quite forward and round.
Yeah.
I don't find much mask in it or much cry in it. Sounds like Paramore.
This part a little bit.
Part of why I like her, Gab, is that I think she uses her voice in, as I say, a very human way. It's not terribly affected for the most. And if and when she does affect it, it's very purposeful and very obvious. I find this very, I don't like this term personally as a coach, but it's very open-throated, meaning there's not a whole lot of...
Yeah.
But again, you know this woman.
I think it's also, I mean, I'm very familiar with the studio version, so I think this...
Oh, it's different.
Is she more open in this
Yes.
format?
What you said totally makes sense in this recording.
Lucy, Lucy. Like, I don't know how to even not sound classical on that. What is she saying? Use. I'm like, Lucy, Lucy. Just a second. I haven't heard it again. She's got vibrato in there.
Oh, yeah.
Use, use, use. It's cray.
Usewa.
Use. Except I think I'm moving mine more floaty. Is she staying more forward in the high note? More mix in the high note?
More mix. That sounds
Use, use. If I was gonna keep it mixy, it would be like use, use, which is not what she's doing. Use, use. She's switching.
Light, yeah.
That's more white side, white vowels.
Yeah.
Then really forward and dropped lyric so
Oh, yeah.
yes,
dynamic.
dark.
So much dynamic.
Is that the hook?
That is the hook,
Gentle, gentle. I love her silhouette in this. I love like her big bum, kind of like the way she has her dress. It reminds me of like Cinderella's stepsisters. That silhouette. I think they have her in that box so the audience doesn't rush her to look at her face. They keep her in this box.
Maybe, yeah.
I have to say, of all the vocalists we have ever reviewed, she is the most vocalist I have ever heard.
Yes.
Like if I was going to do a video where I analyzed and explained techniques she was doing in one song, it would be an hour, I bet.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Probably.
There's
Just-
a lot to
just-
unpack. And just to be clear, it's obviously not obvious in the language, but this song, the lyrics are very, very rebellious. Like this was like a big. This was a big, like lyrically, kind of like an FU to like the Japanese society.
Can you tell us more?
What's a
Is there any
usewa?
specifics?
Usewa means shut up.
Oh.
Literally, shut up,
it's
shut
like
up.
She's like,
Use.
shut up, shut up.
Usewa. Oh,
Yeah.
Shut up, shut
It's
up.
she talks a lot about like, you know, not wanting to fit in, and you know that's okay. Like, you know, you can be different, and you can't tell me what to do. Like, it's like lyrically,
That's rad.
That's rebellious because that Japanese people, that's a kind of a no-no.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, you want to fit in their culture. Yeah.
So she's wild and rebellious and outward about it.
Oh yeah.
And is that why
people
love her?
Well, you know, because there's so much. There's kind of like a societal peer pressure that a lot of people struggle with. There's a lot of depression. There's a lot of overworking.
Do you think because of that cultural pressure to like fit in and follow the thing and be the right right thing and have
the normal thing,
the normal thing,
the status quo thing, yeah,
that is a lot of pressure.
And then she finds her fans are a lot of people who are otaku or people who are not your typical.
What is otaku?
Sorry, an otaku is usually a fan of anime, video games.
Oh, I was like,
good luck.
I want tacos.
That. No, otaku is like people who stay home.
Yeah.
Like
They're very often introverted.
Introverted, contained.
Yeah. So they can be more like the outcasts, nerds in society.
I understand that.
Very nerdy.
And I would say that the clients I've worked with over the years who are big fans of anime.
Yeah, anime
And Japanese music are kind of what you're describing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Kind of what you're describing.
Yes,
They're very contained. They don't necessarily like pop culture. They don't want to, they have no really desire to fit in. They're kind of counterculture, even in the way they dress, their makeup. They don't really care about going to the coolest party or the coolest thing. As a matter of fact, they're looking for underground places to be and other characters and friends that also are kind of in this underworld of this counterculture.
It is, it is definitely kind of. It's funny because in this year, in this era we live in now, anime is very popular and it's becoming more.
It must stress them out. It must stress them out, right? Kind of like when people don't want their band to quote sell out for people who love like underground rock bands, and then all of a sudden they go mainstream and people are like, I don't like them anymore.
Right.
So that must be a stressful thing for people who've had this secret world of anime, this secret world of Japanese music and secret world of all this stuff, and now it's like she's selling out international tours. It's not so secret, but possibly what you're saying is the crowd that's gathering is like-minded.
Yes.
And into the counterculture and into, the style and all of those things. So maybe there is a really healthy thing in the community where these people have other people that kind of feel life and observe life like they do.
And can talk about it.
And can talk about it.
And this is the same group of people that love Vocaloid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, well, interesting. I mean, everybody needs community. Community and actually belonging. I think that we really underestimate how important it is to the human psyche and the human spirit to belong and have community. So whatever I think about these things is highly irrelevant to this particular conversation, that people need places to meet people where they belong, people where they feel community, people where they feel understood and understand, people that are interested and interesting to them. So I think that that's highly, highly important.
Yeah.
Okay. Did she just say Reina?
Oh yeah.
She's even that's not Japanese.
It's there's a famous singer from Japan named Shinaringo. And she, Ado's
you know a lot of shit. Go on.
Shinaringo was in a band called Tokyo Jihan, and she was famous for rolling her R.
So just to be fancy.
Just for fun. It's a different way to do it. Yeah, and then Ado is a huge fan of Shinaringo, so yeah.
So it's almost paying homage.
Oh yeah.
Homage, as we say in English, paying homage.
Did you hear that? I mean, there's a lot to unpack there. There was like a moment, there was like a backing track just snuck through, I guess, harmonies or something, but...
I'm gonna be honest, Gab. I don't know what the hell I heard.
There was a lot, a lot going on, yeah.
All I can think of... So as a singer and a coach, I believe in taking risks, and I probably believe more than other coaches that singing is a full body sport. I'll say, not sport, but activity. But I will say that as I listen to these sounds, as many musicians do, you know, when piano players listen to piano, they can kind of almost picture or feel their fingers playing it. And I feel when I listen to singing like this, I accidentally and not even on purpose feel it in my body, how it would feel to make that sound. And this kind of sound stresses me out in such a way that I don't know personally how I would get through a whole show. Now, I know there's coaches out there who teach screaming and who teach all these things, and apparently there is ways of making these sound. And I'm not even going to pretend to be an expert on it. When people come to me, by the way, for screaming or metal or those things, I do pass them on to other people because it is not my specialty, and that's okay. It's great to learn about it.
You still have to budget though, even if you do.
I love that you use the word budget.
Yes.
I use that word around air, right? Budgeting your air. But you, that's a very, very good way. I've never thought of that in terms of using your your vocal budget through the context of a show, no matter what you're doing, right? If I'm doing full on like lots of belting, lots of Aretha Franklin or Christina Aguilera, you do have to be really considerate. Where are you putting those songs? How many of them in a row are you doing? How long is the show?
So this song, being her debut, I would suspect is very close to the end of her set list.
Really? So it's kind of like, this is it. I'm going to leave it all on the floor.
Yeah. I can't imagine what other song she would finish with, honestly. Yeah.
Well, I think, you know, there is a lot of coaches who have the mentality that, you know, we need to teach singers and behave as singers in such a way that we never hurt ourselves or put ourselves at risk for injury or a long-term repetitive strain, I'll say. And I'm kind of somewhere in between in that I don't think you should abuse your voice, but I do think, you know, if you come from the world of classical or theater coaching, you're going to teach twang and you're going to teach lighter mixing and you're going to teach things that aren't so heavy and full on and potentially damaging. Now, I don't know a lot about these sounds she's making because I don't make them. I make my own risky sounds, but they're not this, right? I do grit, I do belting, and those things have their own, you know, they come with their own. She's screaming, but it's in tune, and she hasn't faltered from top to bottom. So what that tells me is whatever she's doing and however she's mastered it or rehearsed it, it is a way that is, because some people, if you push too hard, you won't make it through the song. Like you'll get halfway through the song and you done. So whatever she's doing is allowing her the longevity of a show, a song for sure, but probably a show. But you're telling me she's not doing this for a whole show.
No. She's going, I've never seen this video, but she's going really, really crazy at the end here. So I think she's nearing the end of her set list.
But I think I'm starting to understand through you guys and through some experiences I've had with clients over the years that what she just did is highly energizing for people, makes their heart beat fast, makes them feel rebellious, makes them feel like they can conquer the world, and makes them feel the energy that might be in her body, in her sound, in her mind, makes them encompass it themselves. So again, for me, this is frantic and it disturbs me a little bit, but I'm getting to know her. Disturbs might be a strong word, but that's just how my little ears react. I'm like, she's in pain and she's screaming, oh my God. But I think I'm starting to understand now that you've talked about the rebellious nature of the song and of her in general and of the culture. I think I'm understanding why and who, like that somebody could be like, so interesting, but.
Whoa.
Back to clean singing after that. I feel like my voice would be like, oh say, oh, like.
But it's because you don't scream by just pushing more air, you know. So she's accessing different parts of her voice, and then when she, you got to take a break from that. So she comes back and just eases into it. But it's becoming a very common contrast these days with metal. A lot of metal screamers are doing this. I've
had a beautiful, beautiful metal singer come to me, a popular one too. And I was like, what am I gonna, why is she coming to me? But she's like, I want to clean up my clean singing.
Yes, exactly.
I want my clean singing when I pop it in to my shows. I want it to be as you know, I want to have as much agility, as much skill, as much belt. I want my mix to be as thick as I want it to be. And I was like, okay. And then when I saw her performance, I was like, holy shit, like there's a lot of layers. Actually, much like this. Her singing is more like blah, 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 like that kind of streaming, you know what I mean? Metal. But still what you're saying is true, that singers who are being wild like this also want to have some clean singing in there too.
Yeah.
And then you draw everyone in. And you take everyone on a ride.
Yeah. And you're giving your voice a break.
And you're giving your voice a break. Mm-hmm. But yo, it's in tune.
Yeah.
Everything she's doing is in tune. She has a brilliant command of how and where and what to push on to remain pliable.
Yeah.
My top tier thing I'm blown away with is how much of that experimental, thicker, grittier, screamy stuff she can do and remain not only in tune while doing the screamy stuff, but coming back to the clean singing and having that not be fragile or broken or busted or airy and still very, very in the pocket of pitch. I don't even, I mean, the skeptic in me is like, there's no way, but I think that performance was what it was.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think the person on stage is her.
I don't know.
I think she reacted to herself.
Are we watching that?
Let's watch that.
I really need you tonight. Forever's gonna start tonight. Forever's gonna start to. Once upon a time I was falling in love. Now I'm only falling apart. There's nothing I could do. A total eclipse of the heart. A total eclipse of the heart.
什么呀？やめろ！
如果你也想成为下一位爆红创作者，请打开下方资讯栏连结，一起来投稿吧。